Again, that is Mark 2:13 through 17. And the word says, he went out, this is Jesus, he went out again beside the sea, and all the crowd was coming to him, and he was teaching them. And as he passed by, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax booth. And he said to him, follow me. And he rose and followed him. And as he reclined at the table in his house, many tax collectors and sinners were reclining with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. And the scribes of the Pharisees, when they saw that he was eating with sinners and tax collectors, said to his disciples, why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners? And when Jesus heard it, he said to them, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners. And you can be seated. So here we have Jesus, and Jesus was preaching, and people were coming to hear him. And as he was, I guess he was walking at some point, he saw a man named Levi, a tax collector. And Levi was sitting in his little booth or whatever. And Jesus called the man to follow him, which he did. So then, it doesn't say this in Mark, but in Luke it does. It says, Levi throws a big feast in honor of Jesus. And Jesus was there with his disciples, basically eating along with all Levi's worldly friends and colleagues. And he basically just got saved. Levi just got saved, basically. So the people he knew, of course, were not believers. So the Pharisees saw this and asked the disciples, why does Jesus eat with these people? And Jesus answered, again, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners. Amen. And we've been talking about this for weeks at this point, but what I've been sensing in the spirit is that evangelism is a need, not only in this region, but in this hour. There are people that God is trying to reach, people that are not saved. God is trying to expand his kingdom on earth. So there's some lost people, some hurt people, some dying people that he's trying to get a message to. And there's people that need God to meet them where they're at. But the problem is that we've been so focused on ourselves and our situations and our problems to the point where we are not in a position to help the people that need help. Because we can't get it together and we can't keep it together. Now we'll get it together, but we can't get it together and keep it together for long enough to be effective at what it is that we're supposed to be doing. So this morning we're going to come from the topic of evangelism. We're going to look at the example that Jesus set in this passage, and we're just going to go from there. But the title of the message on this morning is, why are you still in the waiting room? Again, why are you still in the waiting room? And we'll find out a little later on what I mean by that. So, first, real quick, evangelism. What is evangelism? So, I'm sure we all know this, but just in case, I'm just going to give a description. Evangelism is basically spreading the gospel. Spreading the gospel message of Jesus Christ by personal testimony or by preaching. So when you hear Jesus say, go preach the gospel, that's him saying, okay, y'all need to go evangelize. So just so we know, that's something that we are all called to do. We might not all be an evangelist, but we're all called to evangelism in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in the pulpit, whether it's out, wherever it's at, we're all called to be evangelists. And so the scripture starts off by saying that Jesus went out again beside the sea, and all the crowd was coming to him, and he was teaching them. And as soon as he passed by, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, follow me. So the first thing that we learn from Jesus, and I think I have 5 or 6 of these, the first thing that we learn from Jesus about evangelism is that he called this man in the midst of where he already was. He called this man in the midst of where he already was. The man did not come to Jesus. You see, the first line says that Jesus was teaching and the crowd was coming to him. At one point in the scripture, the first line, Jesus was teaching, people were coming to hear him teach, but the man Levi did not come to Jesus. Jesus was passing by where he was. And so in the same way, as Pastor always says, there's some people who's not going to come through the church doors. There's some people who, just like the evangelist said even on Monday, there's some people who's not going to make it into church. There's some people who's not going to come to church. There's some people who's refusing to come to a church. And so especially in this time and season, we have to be more sensitive than ever before regarding what is going on around us when we're out and about. We can't just be in our own little world just waiting for church on Sunday and waiting for prayer on Monday and waiting for church on Wednesday and that's it. And we just stay oblivious to what's going on with the people that we encounter in our daily lives in between all that time. It can't just be all about us and us coming to church. Amen. So we have to be prepared to actually literally meet people where they are. Not only in a physical sense, but we have to be able to meet people where they are from a spiritual perspective. And she just prayed this. Levi was a tax collector, okay? That means, first of all, he was a Jew. Jews didn't like him because he was a tax collector. That was considered taking God's money from his people and giving it to the pagans, the Romans. So that's basically, to give an example, that's like somebody in here getting a job working for our enemies. So somebody in here gets a job working for our enemies. And so then that person comes in here and takes all type of money from us, just for any and everything. They need to take money for this and take money for that, just so that they can get a percentage of what they took. And then they're going to give the rest to our enemies. So if you just think, we will be looking at that person kind of like, what in the world are you doing? Why are you doing this to us? Like, where's your loyalty? So know that Levi was not a person of good character, because that's basically what he was doing. He was working for the enemy of the Jews, taking their money so that he can get a percentage and giving it to the enemy. So who does that to their own people? Somebody, again, who doesn't have good character. But yet, Jesus called him to follow. So again, we not only need to reach people in the physical location of where they are outside the church, but also we need to understand that we have to minister to the inward condition that they have as well. They're probably not going to be people that we want to hang around. They're not going to be people that we just have fun being with. But again, we have to realize that if people weren't in a bad condition, there would be no need for Jesus. And we're going to get to that. But verse 14 says, and he rose and followed him. Levi rose and followed Jesus. So here we have this unbeliever. He's not a good character. He's sitting in the middle of his mess. At least that's what I call it. So he's just doing what he's doing, going on about his business, and he hears Jesus call, and he immediately gets up and follows Christ. Now, there's a possibility he may or may not have heard Jesus preach. He may or may not have seen Jesus do a miracle. Maybe, maybe not. But the point is, Jesus was in position to appeal to and to speak to what he discerned was on the inside of Levi. And all it took was for him to speak those words to cause him to leave his entire life behind and follow Christ. Luke's version even says he left everything, which is not an easy thing. But Levi responded to the call. He was ready. He was right in the middle of his mess, taking these people's money, greedy, but when he heard the words, he responded to the call. And so that brings me to the second thing that we can learn regarding evangelism, which is there are people out there who don't seem like they're about anything. And they might even be about the completely wrong things. So we see people who is just all about the wrong things. But yet the Lord knows who is ready to follow him, regardless of what it looks like. They can be slapped in the middle of a mess. They can be wherever they at. They can be in the trap, wherever they at, in the club. They can be doing people wrong. They can be in the midst of a prison, wherever they are. But yet God knows who's ready to follow him. In Luke 10:2, Jesus said that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Something we say all the time, but I don't think we fully grasp what Jesus is saying. Jesus knew that Levi was ready to be harvested, but Levi was waiting on the call. Pastor has talked many times about Elijah and Elisha, how Elisha immediately followed. The man threw the mantle and he immediately followed. And it's almost like he was just sitting there waiting on the call. And in the same way, sometimes people are ready, but they don't even know what they're waiting on until they hear it or until they see it. So they can be off in the wrong direction, doing the wrong thing, but God knows they're ready. They're just waiting to hear the call. And so, just a quick testimony. So when I got saved, I was ready. I was waiting on something. I didn't know what I was waiting on because I didn't grow up in church. I was barely around church, but I was right in the middle of my mess. But I was waiting on something. Now, some church person looked on the outside of me, they'll say, oh, she's single, is my aunt checking up with her baby daddy, she really don't do nothing, cuss all the time. All of this, somebody, she's not ready. But God knew that I was ready, that I was waiting on something. He had me to that point. I was waiting on something. I didn't know what I was waiting on until I heard the word. I was waiting to hear the word and to believe what was being said and what was being spoken. And so in the same way, again, we have people that's waiting to hear the word and follow. All we have to do is just share the gospel. They're ready. Jesus said the harvest is plentiful. We ain't searching for little people under a rock. He said the harvest is plentiful. They're everywhere. But the problem is, and that's really what we're going to hone in on today, the harvest is plentiful, but the problem is that the people who are fit to go and bring in the crop are few and far between. We have to talk about why that is. But verse 15 then says, and Jesus reclined at the table in his house, in Levi's house. And many tax collectors and sinners were reclining with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. In other words, Jesus was here at the party that Levi threw for him. And all the sinners and the fellow bad character tax collectors who's taking this money from their people and giving it to the pagans just so they can make a cut. They're all here with them. And Jesus is, it says, reclining with them. In other words, that's just how they used to eat back then. They used to have these little, basically like these beds around the table. And they would lean, and that's how they would kind of congregate and eat. Instead of sitting like we do, they would kind of just lean to the side because it was like more like beds or couches around the table than chairs. So he was reclining. So he's basically, Jesus is chilling with these lean to the side, chilling with these sinners and these tax collectors. And so the third thing that Jesus shows us about evangelism is that it opens the door to more evangelism. So Levi gets saved, so to speak, and then he has a party to celebrate Jesus. He invites all his friends, like I said, fellow sinners, fellow tax collectors, all the shady people, whatever you want to call them. And so Levi is bringing all these other unworthy people into the presence of God. Now they have the opportunity to hear the gospel. Now they have the opportunity to see Jesus. Now they have the opportunity to be touched and changed as well. And if we think about the woman at the well, there are some who might say, okay, we should be like the woman at the well. She went and evangelized the whole city. We got to be like the woman at the well. But yeah, we should go evangelize whole cities. But I believe that at this point, this is what God showed me, that rather than simply being women at the well, we could be like Jesus, actually creating women at the well. So instead of us just going evangelizing whole cities, we're out here creating women at the well, creating people who are going to evangelize whole cities. So for every one person that we reach or every one person that we touch, they're going and reaching all of these people, just like Jesus he touched Levi. He reached Levi. He saved Levi. And so Levi invites all of these other people to this party. So, okay, they can hear and know about Jesus as well. Whole groups of people. So that's the multiplication that I believe that God is calling us to. Not just making disciples, but we have to make disciple makers. That's the mind frame that we have to be in. And Pastor even shared this before, how when he used to do outreach, way back when, his desire was always to locate the boss. He always wanted to locate the head of the operation, the roughest, toughest dude. Why? Because that person has the influence over everybody else. So if you turn that person, then that person is going to start turning people, because everybody's looking at that person as an example. Everybody's looking at them as a leader, as a guy. So if you get that person sold out for Jesus, okay, they going to be, again, like that woman at the well, just turning people left and right, having people turn their life around for Christ. So that, again, is the mentality that our evangelism doesn't just end with one person we talk to. We have to always see the bigger picture. We're touching this person, so this person can in turn touch so many other people. It's not just, oh, I led somebody to Christ, but it goes further than that. And so, again, evangelism leads to more evangelism. So then verse 16 says, and the scribes and the Pharisees, when they saw that he was eating with sinners and tax collectors, he said to his disciples, why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners? So the fourth thing that we learn from Jesus regarding evangelism is that sometimes there are going to be what I'm going to call religious naysayers. The Pharisees' attitude was basically, why are you over there with them when you could be over here with us? They tried to plant negative seeds, even with the disciples. So they're like, well, why does he do that? As if to provoke them to kind of doubt Jesus or doubt his ministry or doubt his leadership. So in other words, that's like somebody saying, well, look at your pastor, look at your mentor, look at the evangelism. Why do they do that? Why are they talking to this person? Why are they not over here on the high horse with us? Why are they out doing whatever they do? So they try to pull you into their mindset and make you feel as if you shouldn't be ministering to certain people, or you shouldn't be a part of certain, just ministering to certain other people. But something that came to me the other day, how are we going to fulfill the call to spread the gospel if we don't come in contact with anybody besides church people? And I think Pastor has said this before, that if you're an evangelist and the only place you go is churches full of believers, you're just a traveling preacher. You're really not spreading the gospel, because you're going church to church preaching to people that already know God. That's not reaching the lost. That's not spreading the gospel, because the gospel has already reached that place. So again, if you're going to evangelize and be an evangelist, you have to go somewhere besides around church people. You can't sit in the house waiting for Sunday so you can go to church. Sit in the house waiting for Monday so you can go to church. Sit in the house waiting on Wednesday so you can go to church. See who's going to invite you to their church to do something at their church. And you should call yourself reaching the lost, and there's no lost anywhere around you. And you're not in position nowhere around no lost people. So back to the scripture, the religious people got indignant with the disciples. They wanted to know why they would be amongst the unworthy people, so to speak, instead of, I guess, sitting there talking to themselves all day. That's just like us sit. They want to know why we not just sitting here talking to each other all day. Why are we out here in these streets trying to do outreach? But the Pharisees were much more interested in sitting in places of honor. They were more interested in being thought of highly. They were more interested in just being glorified in themselves. So, of course, that's the attitude that they have. Why would you be doing this when you could be up on a high horse? Why would you be doing this when you could be in the air conditioning? Why would you be doing this when, there's so many other things that are more comfortable and more honorable and more, that would bring you more recognition that you could be doing? And so basically they wanted to look fancy. They wanted to be openly referred to by their titles. The scripture says they do all their deeds to be seen by others, for they make their phylacteries broad and their fringes long. They love the place of honor at feasts and the best seats in the synagogues and greetings in the marketplace and being called rabbi by others. In other words, again, they wanted to look fancy, so they exaggerated the things that they had to wear as Pharisees. They exaggerated the things that they had to, the religious things that they wore. They made them very, very flashy. They made them very noticeable. And so they wanted to sit in the honorable seat. They wanted to sit on the throne on the stage. They wanted to sit in the front seat. They wanted to be in the place of honor, and they wanted to be called rabbi in the marketplace. In other words, they want their title to be posted and plastered, and they want everybody to hear that they are this and they are that. But yet, the only reason they're doing it is for honor for themselves. So they wasn't concerned with the sinners. They wasn't concerned with the true gospel. They wasn't concerned with spreading the gospel message. They was just concerned with themselves again. So they're trying to figure out, why are Jesus and the disciples even here at this place? Because there's no honor here. There's no glory here. Nobody gonna feed your ego here. And so the Pharisees had no interest in giving the people who need Jesus an opportunity to receive Jesus, because they stuck in their own bubble of, what am I going to get? Who am I going to become? So in the same way, the religious naysayers might ask, well, why do you spend so much money on outreach? Why do you buy these people stuff? Why do you, when you could be, doing this and that, and your church needs this and that, why are you giving away, why do you do what you do? When you have a need, why are you giving away stuff to people? Why do you, when it's not the norm or the tradition? And so, why are you hanging out with these people, or why are you around these people? And I don't want anybody to misunderstand, because when we go to these people, there has to be a purpose in what we do. When it comes to being in certain environments, when it comes to being around certain people, there has to be purpose involved. We can't just try to use reaching the lost as an excuse to hang out with unsaved people because we like the culture. Because people do that. I'm not saying that somebody in here might be. But just because we like the culture, we say, oh, we evangelizing, but really we just chilling. Like, we just hanging out. We want to play cards. So we went over such and such house, and they're having a ball just like they having a ball. There's no purpose in it. But we just, because we, know the terminology, we just say, okay, we evangelizing. Ain't saying one sermon. All we doing is laughing and cackling and then go home. That's not what I'm talking about. We should not be reveling in the same things that they're doing and enjoying and appreciating the atmosphere that is ungodly. But when there's purpose, of course, we're going to have to go somewhere besides church. That's where we're going to need to be to reach these people. But again, we have to be wise in that. There are some places we don't need to enter into. The word says that we have different levels of faith and grace and things that we're gifted to do. Everybody's not going to be able to go everywhere. There's some compromising positions that we should never get ourselves in. If we're still struggling inward with certain things, then trying to call ourselves rescuing somebody else out of the same thing, that might be not the assignment for you. That might be somebody else's assignment, because of course these people need rescuing. But if you think about it, if there's somebody drowning, it would be more helpful for you to be on solid ground. It would be more helpful for you to be a powerful swimmer if you actually are going to have a chance at helping to save them. But if you barely know how to swim, if you barely know how to navigate that water, if you don't have anything to hold on to yourself, how are you going to get somebody out? And you can't even handle yourself in the situation. That's another brother or another sister that might need to take that task on. Somebody who has the footing. Somebody who has the power and the strength in that area. So everything isn't out for us to do. So if you have issues with lust, if you're a man, I don't need you to have a women's ministry. If you are a woman, I don't need you to have a men's ministry. I don't need you one-on-oneing with the opposite sex if this is an issue for you. If you can't keep yourself under control. That don't need to be a ministry for you. Now, that could be somebody else's ministry. They might need somebody of the opposite sex to speak to them. But it might just not need to be you. So, that's just like if Jesus, just say, Jesus was at the well. And the woman came to the well, and instead of preaching to the lady, Jesus struggling not to be another man on her list. And Jesus flirting. He's not really telling her what she needs to hear, but he's trying to get in her house and in other places. That would make things worse, not only for her, but for him too. So that wouldn't have been helpful really to either one of them. So if you're struggling with worldliness and you can't come out the world and you can't get your mind out the world, you should not be reclining with people who are into that scene, who are into all of those things that you're trying to come out of. Because you're most likely you're going to get caught up, tempted, provoked into thinking the same way they think, doing the same things that they're doing, rather than helping somebody come out of it. Now, sometimes when we step away from these things, God will send us back to those things once we're strong enough. But if we just barely hanging on by a thread, that ain't the time for you to go trying to rescue nobody, and you got this little string you holding on to. Both of y'all can't hold on to that string. The string gonna snap. So, again, somebody else who's stronger, that might be a job for them. But again, if God has graced you to be in a certain atmosphere or a certain place where you need to reach somebody, don't pull out and don't shy away from the assignment just because the Pharisees are offended that you're not in the church with them. Or they're offended that you minister to those type of people. Or you're not at their little events and their gathering. Because of course we do have to go to church. We can't forsake the fellowship. But the point I'm trying to make is, you can't let somebody make you feel like you got to spend all your time with church people and never actually reach the lost people. Amen? And so the last verse 17 says, and when Jesus heard it, he said to them, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners. So the fifth point that we learn about evangelism is that people with issues don't need Jesus. But people without issues don't need Jesus. But people with issues need Jesus more than anybody. And so, of course, yeah, we all need Jesus. But in this context, he's pointing out that the Pharisees basically had it all together, or so they thought. But Jesus is like, listen, you may have it all together, but I'm a minister. Of course, I'm going to be with people who needs to be ministered to. So, yeah, why am I going to be sitting here with y'all or in y'all's face having this chit-chat with y'all 24 hours a day when I am called to minister to people? People need ministry. That's the people that I'm going to spend my time with doing what I'm called to do. So why would I be spending my time around people who don't need any help? But there's a point that I want to hone in on. Because Jesus makes a point that those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. And what God showed me, and a crucial part of this message this morning, is that we cannot be sent out to minister to those who need the physician when we're still sick ourselves. That's really, although this message is about evangelism, the point of the message is we cannot be sent out if we're still sick. And I was supposed to preach this message weeks ago. It was already done, but not even knowing what was going to be said in the meeting, not even knowing what Nikisha was going to speak on, what I saw was that we are supposed to be healed. We are supposed to have already been made whole. But yet, we're still in the waiting room, taking up space when we need to be out collecting the harvest. We need to be out searching for those who we can bring in to see the physician, So the title this morning of Why Are You Still in the Waiting Room, it is actually a prophetic message, a prophetic word regarding our maturity level and where we're supposed to be and where we should be. When there's people who need to come to the position, when there's people who need to be doctored on, why are we still in the waiting room? Why are we still sitting there taking up space? When we should be out showing people they need to fill up the room. But yet again, we are sitting around. We still trying to be seen. We need to be seen every 5 minutes by the doctor. So again, we should already be healed of our wounds. We already have the Lord. We already have the Holy Spirit. And I touched on that the other week in prayer. The word says, therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. In other words, like I said, we need more disciples. We need more ministers. There's babies out here that still needs to be bottle fed. There's people that's waiting to come into Christ, waiting to hear the word. But the mature believers, we need to be out making this profit, like the servant with the talents, making a profit for the kingdom. We need to be outreaching these people, harvesting these souls. It's like when we have a newborn baby. Okay, think about a newborn baby. We bring them home. We expect to have to feed them. We expect to have to do everything for them. But as they get older, they should get more and more independent. At some point, they grow. And if they still expect you to do everything for them at that point, you will be looking at them like they was crazy. If your grown child came already potty trained, talking about change my diaper, help me go to, can you come to the bathroom with me? You would look at them like they were crazy. At some point, no, listen, the older you get, you're going to have to get out. You need to get a job. You need to go to work. Not just be sitting here expecting me to just keep feeding you and keep changing your pampers and keep giving you the pacifier and you grow. And so in the same way, that's like us. When we come into the kingdom, we're newborns, we're babies. But as things progress, okay, we are expected to learn to do for ourselves, to be more independent, and then to get out of the house and go to work. As disciples, we need to get out and go work on the harvest. So the goal is not for us to be 3 and 4 times a week. Every time we come in, we got to snot on the altar. We got to cry because we can't get ourselves together. That's not the goal. Because if we're just worried about ourselves, we can never reach any other people. And so, Jesus, we have to grow up. We all have hard times. We all have times when we need support. But that shouldn't be the norm. We should be getting stronger and stronger. Not staying the same. Not moving backwards. Regardless of difficulty of circumstances. Regardless of what we go through. We should not be still children. We already have Christ. Again, already have the Holy Spirit. But yet, again, still in the waiting room. We still trying to see the position. The position already on the inside of us. We already have him on the inside of us. So we just have to listen and do what he says do and trust him and just move on. Just move forward. But because there's people who don't know how to get to him. And we have to show them the way. We have to let our light shine so that they can see what it is that they need. And I'm almost done. If you want to put something on, but can you could turn it down, please? So again, Jesus called the man where he was. We have to evangelize in places where people need evangelism. When the goal is to reach the lost, we can't just sit around and expect them to find us when they don't even know what they're looking for. There's people that's out here ready to follow God. There's people that want God. There's people that won't, but they don't know. Some of them do know. Some of them don't know. But we can't walk around worried about ourselves when the harvest is plentiful. They're primed, they're ready to believe, but yet we walking around looking for a new job and a new this, and this is all that we can think about is when we're going to get a better car and when we're going to get more money, and we're just walking around. And then, meanwhile, there's people that's lost and dying all around us. And we can't get our minds off of ourselves for long enough. Everything is never going to be perfect until Jesus gets here again. Okay? So if we worry about all of that, we will never minister to anybody because there's always going to be a problem. All that is a distraction. All that is something that we have to push past. We can't be waiting, sitting here, well, I'll go minister once I get all the material things I want, but until then, I'm just going to focus on it. No, because the flesh is never satisfied. The word says that. So that means the more that we get, the more that we don't want. It's not about that. We shouldn't have to be waiting on that. We can't be crying over houses and cars and problems that we already have a solution to. We already have the Lord. That's the answer to all the problems. He already said, don't worry about that stuff. I got that. You just worry about the kingdom. But the reason why we have nothing and we struggling and all of that is because we're not worried about the kingdom. We too busy trying to provide for ourselves. We don't give him an opportunity to provide for us because we're not worried about his people. We're not worried about his business. We're not worried about the kingdom. We're worried about trying to do his job and not doing our job. And even in that, we don't have to be a Bible tape recorder to tell somebody about Jesus. Just FYI, okay? We can't get caught up into that to the point where we don't minister to somebody because we don't know the right scripture. Can I tell you something? The scripture we use for salvation, that scripture wasn't even written when people was first getting saved in Acts. Okay, that scripture didn't exist. So Paul didn't say, if you believe in your heart, that wasn't even out. So he couldn't quote that. He was preaching about Jesus, giving a testimony about Jesus. Anybody, I'm going to get to that in a minute. We're not just becoming disciples, we're creating disciples. We never know the impact that one person is going to have on other people. I can't stress this enough. We have to think in forward motion. I'm helping you, not so I can point the arrow back at myself for something incoming. I'm helping you. I'm pouring out so that you can pour out. I'm pouring into you so that you can pour into somebody else. The greatest gift that you can give me, and this is personal to me, the greatest gift that you can give me is not honor and glory and gifts and, oh, you preach so good. The greatest gift that you can give me is to teach somebody else what I taught you. Go tell somebody else what I taught you. Go spread the message. That means more to me than anything that you could ever say to me or give me. Because that's the point. When I get up here, I want you guys to grow so that you can help other people. Not so something can come back at me, but so that it can keep being poured out, keep being poured out, keep being multiplied. God's Spirit can continue to be reproduced. And so what blew me away about this whole scripture in the end is that Levi, I don't know, y'all might know this, but Levi is actually Matthew. Mark and Luke both say Levi, but if you read the book of Matthew, he identifies himself as Matthew, meaning Matthew, one of the 12 disciples. And so one of the very people that the Pharisees looked down upon, why are you hanging out with him? Why are you going to call him? Why are you reclining with him? God used this man to spread the gospel all across the world. This man wrote a book of the Bible that we learn from today. This ragged man who had a bad attitude, was trying to steal from his own people, could care less. God reached him where he was. And now look at what he's doing. Look at what he's done. Look at how it's still impacting us today all these thousands of years later. Off of evangelism. Jesus met him where he was, discerned that he was ready to be harvested, and picked him and said, come follow me. And he got up and he left everything. He got up and left everything. My God. So instead of looking at things selfishly of when am I going to get this, when am I going to get that, we should be like, how can I be a blessing today? Who am I going to touch today? Who am I going to tell about Jesus today? How am I going to be a blessing to somebody? Plant these seeds of the Word of God so that the kingdom can continue to be built and to be increased. Let Him provide the opportunities. Let God provide the open doors. Let Him provide for us. But that can't be our mindset every day when we wake up. We don't have to know where it's all going. Just like Pastor said, he said, but God is going to guide us. He don't have to tell us everything. But as we focus on His kingdom, we going to end up where we supposed to be. You could have never paid me to believe I would be doing this right now. Never. Okay? Even when I thought I was, in the glory. You could have never paid me to believe this. But all I'm doing is, when God says do something small, do it. And somehow, I'm where I'm at in the will of God. That's how I got in the will of God for my life. Not because I said, you know what, I want to be a preacher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read all these books on a preacher. I'm going to find me a pulpit. See who's going to let me preach. No. All I'm doing is what God said do. And somehow I ended up here. And it feels amazing. Because I know I'm in the will of God. Because He's the one that brought me to this point. I didn't bring myself to this point. And that's not to say, I'm, something great or whatever. But I'm just saying, walking in my calling. Because I wasn't trying to walk in my calling. I was just trying to further the kingdom of God. That's all. That's all. But it's like, it feels like at some point, we've lost our urgency for people's souls. And if we as the church, if we feel like the most crucial thing is what we gonna eat and where we work and what kind of car we got, and how are we gonna expect that the lost are gonna understand why they need Jesus? How's the lost gonna understand the magnitude of their eternal destination if all we think about is not them, how much money we got? But we want them to take Jesus seriously, but we don't take Jesus seriously. We don't have no urgency, but we want them to have urgency. Well, you should have came to church. Maybe church should have came to them.
My God. My God.
Jesus. So that's the word that God really gave me for you guys today is take the focus off yourself and get in position. Because we've gotten word after word after word that it's time to shift, it's time to move, it's time to transition. We've been in this season for such a long time, and it's been prophesied that, okay, if you don't get it together, you're going to get left. And God brought that back to my remembrance. So this is just confirmation of when you prayed about the elevator, because I saw that. I saw that the elevator is not going down, but the elevator going to be stuck on that same floor if you refuse to get it together. What has been taking place is we have been lingering, we've been waiting, we've been praying, we've been catering to the immaturity for too long. We've been catering to each other's immaturity for too long. We've been catering to our own immaturity for too long. So we're lingering around, waiting around for you to get it together. We're waiting around for ourselves to get it together. We're just waiting. And meanwhile, God is calling us to go forth and make disciples and preach His gospel. So we're not going to pray about these same issues no more. We're not going to dwell on these these same messages no more. This same milk trying to get people to have faith and trying to get the basic things. Trying to get people to believe in God. We're not going to continue to pray these same prayers. We're not about to continue to have these meetings about the same issues over and over and over again, talk about the same issues. This is why we can't focus on other things, because we're too immature. So we have to keep trying to give ourselves the diaper changes. We have to keep trying to give ourselves the pacifier. And so we can't be sent out to disciple anybody and serve somebody because we're not in position. So if you want to stay stuck on the elevator on that floor, that's just where you're going to be. Okay, you ain't going to crash to the bottom. God already said that. But you'll just be right there on the same floor. Looking at the same scenario, the same four walls, looking at the same, you know, when the elevator, and then the elevator doors open and you see that, and you see the floor, you're just going to be looking at the same floor. There's a flower over there, and a window right there, and a desk right there, and you're just going to be standing there staring at the same thing. And I want to share, we can't refuse to allow God to heal us. And that's part of the message that Evangelist preached. Why are we still in the waiting room? I want to share with you guys a dream that I had, and God gave me this dream last night. And I did not even make the connection until I was ready to come here this morning. So, in this dream, and then we're going to be done. In this dream, there was a woman, and this woman's lungs became punctured. And so I was trying to do CPR on this woman, and her heart was beating, but her lungs were not working. So as I was breathing into her, she started breathing again. But then it turned to, I was on my way to the hospital, but now instead of a woman, it was a baby. And so I'm holding this baby, and I'm panicking about this baby because I'm running to the emergency room, and the people at the counter, they're just casually telling me to get in line. The waiting room is full of people, and they're saying get in line. And I'm panicking because I'm like, listen, she can't breathe, like the baby can't breathe, okay? So the baby would stop breathing, and I'll have to breathe life into the baby. And I'm telling this lady, listen. But she was just casually like, okay, well, go have a seat. Because and I'm like, do you understand what's going on? She's like, just have a seat. Because what I got from her is, she already had seen that before. She already knew what was going on, and it wasn't anything urgent in her mind. So I'm there in the waiting room with this baby, and we're playing games. Literally, I'm playing games with this baby. And every now and then, the lungs would collapse again. And I would have to do CPR and breathe life into this baby again. And so while I'm praying about this dream, I heard the Lord say, why are you still in the waiting room? Not realizing I was in the waiting room with this woman/baby, spending all my energy trying to keep this baby alive. But God is saying, I see what's going on, and I got that. I need you to focus on other things in this season besides grown people who already know me, who are acting like babies, that you need to keep waking them up every 5 minutes and resuscitating them every 5 minutes. God said, no, let me take care of it. Give it over to me, and you focus on my people, my lost people. And I was like, wow, blown away. Why are you still in the waiting room? Why are you wasting your time? That's why the lady wasn't urgent. She was like, yeah, just get in line. The baby ain't gonna die. That's a grown woman. That's not a baby. The baby's not gonna die. But I'm over here in a panic, like, no, I got to breathe. I got to do CPR. They're like, no. And God is like, why are you still in the waiting room? Leave that baby and be about my business. Be about my business. So our focus is no longer going to be on growing up, babies who are grown who already know God. We have to focus on the lost. We have to focus